Welcome back to the All Hazards Prepper Show. This is your host, Blake. This is your situational update for the first week here, or last week in July, first week in August. I hope everyone, is having a safe week, having a great week. We've got a couple updates. We got a new invest. I mean a tropical, development possibly down right now, developing below the Bahamas. New model guidance has come out. The name is right now Invest 97L. That's typically what the Hurricane Center does. Is they give it while it's trying to form, or maybe it doesn't form. They call it an invest until it gets to a tropical storm or tropical depression or hurricane status, based on those the winds and the criteria for that. So anyway, the 97L is somewhere kind of below the Bahamas, I think, right now. Getting into those islands, just as pretty much as a disturbance, a lot of rain, a little bit windy, normal things this time of year that happen. We have new model guidance showing it possibly entering into the Gulf side on the Florida Panhandle, maybe working its way over then back into the Atlantic. People, it is so hard. Every system is so hard for meteorologists and for the National Hurricane to predict, this far. It's not even supposed to affect the Bahamas and some of these islands until, over the weekend, late weekend. It's really a guessing game using models, using data that's coming from the hurricane hunters or other sources, really, and then just the models, trying to guide where it may go. So this is why it's just important to stay aware this time of year. Don't freak out whenever you see, a line. You see these models come out, and that line maybe it's kind of going near your house or near where you live or the state you live in. Don't freak out about those. Those are just spaghetti models. They're not, real deal where this is going to go. Follow the National Hurricane Center. They will start putting out, as soon as they start getting into, looking at impacts and hazards that these systems are going to have. They're going to be putting out more information, putting out those cones of uncertainty once it reaches that status. So anyway, we're getting into peak hurricane season, what I call. Usually in the Atlantic or in the Gulf, really the season starts picking up in August, September. That's when we see the majority, on average, the strong systems, the strong storms. That's when conditions are more favorable. The ocean is pretty hot this time of year. So anyway, that is my meteorology spill for today. The key points there are making sure that you follow trusted sources. Yes, you can, if you're a weather geek, go off and look at more hobbyists, weather people. But they provide some great information too. But just making sure that you follow trusted sources and staying prepared. If you have not done those basic hurricane preps yet, go and do those this weekend, please. If you come back and we go through a hurricane and you go, wow, I really should have done that. Well, yeah, you probably should have. Make sure you have that water. Make sure you have the food, flashlights. If you're able to get a generator or something like that, some alternative power source, and having a plan, knowing where to go. We're going to be working on doing some shows in August on planning. I am working on a plan for household, or what I'm calling a household emergency operations plan. Stay tuned for that. Still working on that. It is a work in progress. It's kind of what I do this is what I do for a living, is develop plans. But usually I put the information in them. So right now I'm having to do a template. So you can put the information in there. So I'm trying to go through that, and I really want to make sure that's a perfect product before I put it out to people. And we're going to try to figure out how to do all that and what it's going to entail. So anyway, stay tuned for that. But we'll have some episodes on emergency planning. I'll get into that in the next segment. Anyway, other things that are going on in the world. It's still hot, people. Stay hydrated. do not. I listen to the news. I listen to like a news briefing every morning, and they talked about the child left in the car. Um, I thought it was okay to leave the child in the car. Next thing they go home or go back to the car, and unfortunately the child passed, and it was too late to do anything. And it's just common sense. Do not leave your kids. Do not leave your pets or anyone in a locked hot car. Just don't do it. It's hot. Stay hydrated. Stay prepared. Hopefully, we're going to start getting into maybe some cooler temperatures. I haven't seen that on the horizon, but depending on what part of the U.S. or the world you're listening to, you may be getting into some cooler temperatures. Probably not if you live in the southeast, unfortunately, but that's just welcome to living in the southeast. Anyway, other things, storms are still occurring, but got to stay prepared in that way. Other things that we are seeing pop off, in the world, we've been monitoring what's going on at the Olympics. Definitely, there's been some concerning, attack type things more on critical infrastructure being power, utilities, water systems, you know, transit systems are critical infrastructure. One day we'll do a whole thing on critical infrastructure because that's something I really enjoy doing. But anyway, there have been some attacks, terrorist attacks on the Olympics. You might not see, they're not like involving weapons or anything, but they're involving things trying to take out systems, disrupt that a big event. So stay aware of that. It just shows, and something we talk about here is how not only here in the U.S. but around the world, critical infrastructure systems, such as what I just spoke about, are highly susceptible and highly soft to attack. They're, in a lot of ways, are what we call soft targets. They're, they're often not protected that well, depending on what type of critical infrastructure we're talking about. They're really soft targets for people to act on and do harm on. So that is why it's not only to stay aware of it, stay prepared. If the water was to go out or power, internet, having a plan. Of course, if you take mass transit every day, having a plan. You should have a plan no matter what, because who knows what could be interrupt mass transit. If you take a bus, a train, metro, taxi, whatever, you should definitely have some alternative plans in place if that's not available from attack or by design. Maybe it's just an IT outage or there's something going on in the train or whatever. I don't live in an area where I take mass transit, but I do drive a route every day to go home. I do try to change it up every once in a while just to make sure I know my other routes, but I recommend you do that too. Anyway, other things, the Middle East is still a hot topic. I try not to get political here, but we are seeing a lot of different terrorist groups, Hezbollah, Hamas, really, it's really been driven by the Iranian regime. That's really driving some of these factors. But I try not to get boring there. But I would definitely not recommend traveling over there right now. But it's just something to stay aware of. Likelihood of it affecting us here in the U.S. In major capacity, very slim, but it's something to keep an eye out on. Just to know. And too, if you're interested in international politics and geopolitical politics and all that stuff, and those types of conflicts, certainly good to look at there. So anyway, just to stay aware of that. That's kind of what's going on. This is a situational update. Things that are going on here in the All Hazards Prepper. It has been nice this week not having to. I didn't have to shoot a podcast. I was able to work on some other content that you'll see come out next week. I'm really working on that family emergency plan that we talked about earlier. And I've really been working on that. I really think a lot of people will enjoy that and really get benefit from it. And it's certainly benefited me as well. Plans in place, but this is kind of what I've been doing is taking what I have in place, what I've seen elsewhere, and kind of putting it all in one. I'm trying to make it a pretty inclusive plan, all comprehensive, all hazards emergency plan for your household. So anyway, stay tuned on that. But it's been nice not having to do a podcast. But next week, we on the show we have Disaster Communications, Clayton with Disaster Communications out of Missouri. It was great to talk with him last week. If you like ham radio, amateur radio, if you're a techie person, you're gonna love it. I really enjoyed kind of geeking out with him on emergency communications, but we really also just got into some stuff that basic preppers need to understand when it comes to emergency communications and things that you can do as a basic prepper without even going to get a ham radio license or a GMRS or a license or the FCC. Things that you can do at home very simply to really boost your capabilities in terms of emergency communication. So super excited to show you that episode. That will drop Monday. There will be some short that drops, like I usually do over the weekend. But super glad to have him on. We will have we have some great new exciting guests lined up. I have been working, and I had actually just a lot of people reach out to me saying, "Hey, I want to be on your show," and I'm like, "You're like on a whole different level than I am. Like they're way higher in the following count, in the expertise count." But I'm grateful for that, and I love talking with just about anyone. Ask my wife; she gets tired of me talking to her, so I got to talk to everyone else, I guess. So anyway, but we got some exciting guests lined up. I won't reveal quite yet. We haven't even recorded some of these, but we have them scheduled. But again, we'll be going every other week. The next week podcast, we will be focusing on community preparedness, kind of building a tribe, if you will. Something actually I've been working on personally as a prepper is kind of building a tribe of, as we call it in the prepper world, really, to lean on during the events, kind of, bounce ideas back off on, maybe train together. So if you're located in the central southeast portion of North Carolina, hit me up. We are kind of working on that right now. I got a couple of people that I've really connected with, and we're kind of building this into. But if you're interested, let me know. But anyway, but we'll be talking about that in 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, from Monday on community preparedness and building a tribe. So that'll be super excited. I am excited also to announce that I did find a meteorologist. Is someone I've followed for a little while. Before this, she's actually a career emergency manager as well, but she's a meteorologist by education, and super glad to have her on. But that'll be dropping probably in at the end of August, September, sometime in there. And we'll do that. Anyway, that is the major updates. Make sure you're continuing to check out the content we're posting. I'm going to be doing some videos posted next week. I've been working and I've finally completed my EDC project, Everyday Carry project. It's something, I kind of get off these little projects as a prepper and slowly buy, things that I want. I can't buy too much. My wife will get really upset, but I try to, improve my skills. But anyway, I've been working on developing a better EDC, and I'm going to do a video on that as I finally completed as of last night. Anyway, with that video, I'll try to shoot one tomorrow or Saturday, and shoot and have that published for you guys next week. Anyway, that is where we are on the All Hazards Prepper. Everyone stay prepared out there. Remember to stay aware, stay prepared, stay alive. If you need to remember that, we have t-shirts now, koozies now that have that on there. While you're drinking, you're having a cold drink, you can, remember that phrase there. So anyway, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Stay safe out there. The All Hazards Prepper out.